Well, since our epic failure last week trying to get the torque tube out, or at least thinking we might be able to get the torque tube out, that didn't work. So we're going to lower the suspension. And we got some questions about why aren't we just removing the entire suspension. You guys didn't watch the whole video because I did explain that we need to move this car around the shop. I don't want to take all the suspension out, lower the engine and transmission and drivetrain out at one time. But this is a good way to do an individual repair. Like if we had a noisy torque tube, instead of taking everything out, this is how you would just remove the torque tube to repair that. Things like that. So you can see as we go in stages, but really we don't want to cripple the car just yet. We don't have a framework built underneath with the wheels, the dolly, so we can move it around. So we have to do it piece by piece. So I'll say that at the beginning of the video in case you guys don't watch it all the way to the beginning. So we're going to start with taking the brake lines off, the hard brake lines, where they meet the rubber brake lines. I don't care if we break the rubber ones, they're already hard and brittle, they're going to get replaced anyways, but we don't want to bend up the steel ones. So I'm going to start with that. Hopefully the audio quality is a little better on this video. It may not be. You'll have to see the setup that we're using. It's hard, but we're working on the audio. So thanks for those comments. I appreciate that too. Okay. Well, I'm going to start by taking these lines off. They're right here. 11 millimeter wrench. And we'll just counter this. And they're not real tight. It's possible the brake fluid is not going to leak out, but if it does, it's going to be mud. Oh yeah. It's not too bad. And we'll just take them out so they don't bend. Because what we're going to do is we're going to just pivot this down enough to get the torque tube out. Remarkable how loose everything is. Nothing is rusted in, which is good. I need another bucket. You never have too many buckets. Again, that just unscrewed very easily. Very nice. All right. We can leave the sway bar because it's coming with the torsion bar framework, and it's connected right to the spring plate and the lower control arm. So, or the only control arm in this case. Let's see. So we're going to take the mount off the body. There are two bolts here on this section of the mount, right up in here. You'll see those bolts come out. And this mount back here is bolted in from the back side. I don't think I missed anything, but we'll see. We also have a parking brake, but I think there's enough flexibility. There may be enough flexibility for the parking brake cable. If it looks like it's going to get stretched, I'll disconnect it, but for now I'm going to leave it. We'll see what happens. It's kind of fun, right? We'll see what happens. This is a 19 millimeter headed bolt. This one I loosened to make sure it was going to come out. It's still a little stiff. Oh! Oh no! Stay there. All right, get this one broken loose. Unbelievable. Very nice. Dang. All right. Next to, I can get through here. This one. Wow, very nice. Don't let this happen to you. You can probably hear the rain outside. Probably not helping the audio very much. Big rainstorm. Let's see. I break them loose by hand first because I don't think the gun can get them initially started. There's a lot of surface area on those bolt heads. So, all right, let's see. Let's see if we got it loose. I don't think it's going to fall, but I am going to put the pole jack there. Just in case. Got the big gun out for this one. Yeah. I thought they were bigger. All right, we're in just a little bit of a snag. I thought we were going to be able to lower this down just enough. It's not going to happen because this bracket, maybe you can't see that side, but you can't see this side either. But this bracket that comes up, the mount is in front of the shock absorber, and it needs to swing down past the shock absorber. So I'm just going to take the park brake cable off. It gets disconnected on this wheel. And then separated up here with this wheel. We're going to do that. It's just a better way to do it. And we'll put it on the ground on jack stands and then lift the car up and leave the suspension on the ground. Remove the torque tube and then just put it back up again. I think that's the best way to do it. We're also going to disconnect the brake pad warning sensors right here, so all that wiring is disconnected. So I guess you get to see how all that comes apart. So I'm going to get ready for that. All right, so we're just going to disconnect the brake line, take the caliper off, and get rid of the wire here for the brake pad sensor. That's pretty simple, just a little clip. Just get a screwdriver on that. They're really pretty simple, just a little push takes them off. I like those clips, hopefully they don't break when I go to put it back together. Well, that's not connected. Oh. Porsche loved their wire management. Very nicely done. So that will stay with the body. That will stay with the trash. The new brake pads will come with the sensor, or we'll replace the sensors with it. Okay. That's easy. Now this line is disconnected up here, so that should stop dripping when the line is empty. Okay, caliper nuts. If you notice, painted on the outside, not on the inside. We're going to take these apart, take all the pistons out. We're going to have them powder coated. I'd like to go back to original black, but he's probably going to like the red. We'll see what he wants. These two bolts are 19mm head. There you are. Amazing. Look at the threads. No rust, no corrosion. Pretty impressive for 1986. I'm sure they've been off before, but still, you'd expect to see some damage here of some kind. Here we go. That's the caliper. I'm just going to put it in here so it can drain. These are actually shims that go between the caliper and the control arm. I kind of forgot those are in there, so beware. These give the caliper, they center it on the rotor. See if we get lucky with these. If not, they're easy to drill out if they get broken. Then the rest of the threads come right out. But this is so much better. Look at that even. Wow. Emergency brake surface, so parking brake surface. That must have been the rattle he's been hearing for the past 2 years, or before he parked it. The retainer spring. We'll be getting all new hardware. Okay. I'm going to go back up. Okay, it did have to get a little bit wet. Screwdriver was in the trunk of my car. This is actually the right size 1/4-inch blade to get these springs off for the hold downs for the park brake shoes. Just push and twist and they come right out, usually. That's what holds your park brake shoe to the backing plate, and you can get the screwdriver right in there and just give it a push to compress it and twist, and the hook comes off the back. Pretty neat. But they break. Alright. Now I'm going to lower it again. I'm just going to take the adjuster out. Oh, it's still clean. And it still adjusts. Top. And there we go. Now this parking brake mechanism, just about every German car uses it if they have the shoes inside the rear brake rotor. Porsche, the 911, 928, 944s, they all use this design. Really simple. This pin, I'll show you when I get it out, but it's just so simple, it's remarkable. Now, if I can get this out far enough, I can't really see it. So this pin has a clip on it, which we just have to remove. It's tight in there. There it is. Pin is still in there, hiding. Now the cable will come out. I'll show you this in just a second. Find my pin. Alright, let me show you this real quick. This is pretty ingenious, really. And this there is another design that this is buried inside of here. This is not like that. So this actually will go, let's see. In here. It's hard to demonstrate outside of the car, but the jacket is held in the framework here, and when it's pulled, this pulls out and it causes this to expand. Simple. Not much, just enough to push it. Push it like that. And that's what gives your parking brake action to move. Pretty simple. Okay, but we're not here to discuss brakes yet. I'm going to remove the cable jacket from the frame here. All right, and then we have one more thing to do. Okay. The left cable is the short cable. We don't have to remove that from the wheel. We just have to separate this long cable that comes from the handbrake lever. There we go. So if you need to change a park brake cable, that's what you need to do there. This goes into the framework up here to hold it, and then there's a clip I took off. Hard to see up there. I don't want to break this strap. It's riveted right here, and it's nice and original, so we're going to try to keep that. Cable's flexible enough, we can pull it right through. That's going to be in our way there, so there we go. Get it up out of the way. All right. Now we're going to set this on, I'm going to take the nuts off of each shock so they're ready to come out, and I think I can leave these. I'm going to try to leave these here. Let's see. I'll have to pull the clips off the rubber brake lines, the flexible lines where they mount to the torsion bar frame. That's easy enough to do. I think the last time I did this kind of work was about 150 years ago. Let's see this special screwdriver. Might not have been quite 150 years, but sure feels like it. We got them freed up with the screwdriver, but they just need a little twisting action. Okay, that'll go down with, that's connected to this line through here. Same on this side. That's all freed up. We got the same thing with the park brake over here. And I'll worry about that. This one. Surprising, these didn't even break. I threw them in the ultrasonic cleaner and hopefully reuse them. That's up out of the way. I don't think this car has ever seen snow. Still, incredible condition. Right now, the shocks are actually holding up the suspension. All right, we're going to get this set up on jack stands on the ground. We're going to probably try to get under here and here so it stays even. And then we'll get the bolts out of the shocks. Hopefully we can get the car to go up, and the torque tube should basically just fall out, but we'll see. We got the car on the ground, the 4 jack stands. If all goes well, you're going to see this stay on the ground when we raise the car up. Right now I'm going to unbolt the front, the top of the shock. Pull the bolt. All right, now we got the upper shock bolts out. A little more difficult than I thought, but they came out okay. Now we're going to pry the mounts down so the whole assembly will sit on jack stands. A little light in the back here. We got to be careful going back up. Very front heavy now. Yeah, too front heavy. Let's see where we are. Here comes our torque tube. Problem is this. Well, since the rear end is no longer attached to the car, very front end heavy, we ran a strap through the car onto the lift arms here. Pretty common practice removing heavy pieces, but kind of forgot about it. So keep in mind, if you take something big out of the car, you're going to be very heavy on the other end. Could be dangerous, so be careful. Don't want to make that mistake. Luckily, we're low to the ground. Well, there it is. There's our torque tube. Very simple if you're going to assemble the whole thing this way. The only difference, the front end, the whole front end will be out of it and be ready to put it in for the engine mounts when it goes all back together. But for now, this will suit our needs. We had to get this out. Somebody commented about bearings. When the time comes, we'll probably be replacing bearings in the torque tube. We'll look into the brand you mentioned. Haven't done much with those, but we'll take a look. Well, that's it. The torque tube is out. I think I'd like to take the bell housing off before we pull the engine out. There is room for it, but it's tight, real tight. So why don't we simulate that we're doing a clutch? Although getting this exhaust pipe off is a nightmare. So maybe we'll give it a shot if we can. If we can get this out of the way, I can show you how to replace a clutch with this all right here. But otherwise, we're not going to really show you how to put the rear end back in. We're just going to throw it in with a few bolts so we can put wheels on it and move the car around the shop. But the torque tube will stay out. What a mess. Another busy day. Thanks for watching. We love the comments. Keep them coming. Share the videos, like them, and please find more people to subscribe. We need a lot more.